There is less than a 1% chance that someone joining the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft will see a random set of coordinates underneath the server name. A lot of people ask me, what are these coordinates? Do they actually lead somewhere, or are they a joke just to troll people? Well, what you see under the server name is called the message of the day, and it's here that 571 potential messages can show up. But in this list, there are 3 sets of in-game coordinates. Because I've had people asking about them, I decided to travel to all 3 of these locations to see if anything is actually there. Without spoiling anything, let's just say what I found was very unexpected. Join me today as I show you my journey to all 3 sets of coordinates and some of the surprises we found along the way. Will we find anything meaningful, or are we getting trolled? Well, I'm making the journey so you don't have to. Just another day in this chaotic wasteland. When I'm not playing Minecraft, I live a pretty active lifestyle, and nothing complements my fitness more than HelloFresh. Delicious ingredients get sent straight to my door, completely organized and ready to cook. HelloFresh offers veggie, pescatarian, and fit and wholesome meals to make it easy to stick to your goals. HelloFresh recipes feature produce that goes from the farm to your front door in less than a week, which means their menu features the season's freshest flavors. With HelloFresh, step-by-step recipes are super easy to follow, and pre-portioned ingredients help me cut out prep time, so I have time to get back outside. Not only that, but HelloFresh is up to 72% cheaper than dining at a restaurant. If you want a taste, go to HelloFresh.com and use code FitMC16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. That's HelloFresh.com with code FitMC16 to enjoy your free meals. Thanks again to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. It was time to find out if these 3 sets of coordinates actually led somewhere, or if it was all just a ruse. The 571 messages of the day were previously submitted by players, so it would be easy to assume that the coordinates in this list would lead to nowhere. And since they were spread out over 1 million blocks away from each other, I had a lot of traveling to do. I logged into the alt account that I would be using for the journey. Luckily, it was pretty close to spawn already, so I began plotting out my trip. I set a temporary bed so that I could have my respawn point close to 00, which would save time later on. The first set of coordinates were located 150,000 blocks to the southeast, so I would head in that direction first. I hopped into the nether and headed towards the nearest roadway. Since 2b2t is an anarchy server, one of the most commonly used hacks is entity speed, which allows anything you can ride to move faster. Unfortunately, using boats with this hack can be pretty glitchy sometimes, so it kept disconnecting me. I tried using my elytra, and that too was not working. I mean, take a listen. Out of stubbornness, I did try using my boat again, but this time I would turn the hack on and off every 10 seconds, and that seemed to actually work. Finally, smooth sailing. While traveling, I noticed large flat areas of nothing but obsidian. These were actually built by the Highway Workers Union, the group responsible for maintaining 2b2t's roadways. They recently built a massive logo of their symbol, and if you're near spawn, it's almost impossible not to run into it. Those large flat areas were actually part of the art. But regardless, those same roads that the Union had built definitely helped us on the journey. Once I was closer to the destination, the tunnels became smaller, so I had to get back on foot. There were items on the ground which implied that someone had been digging there recently. After going through the already lit portal, I found myself back in the overworld. I noticed player-made scaffolding made with netherrack, so I knew we were getting close. I soon found myself in a jungle biome. Just for fun, I decided to tame a parrot on the way to the coordinates. When I eventually arrived at the first location, I was shocked to see there was an actual base here, or rather, there was. The place had fallen into disrepair. There were buildings, a large hole going down to bedrock, and even a random end crystal that was floating over nothing. It was all very strange, but hey, at least this first set of coordinates actually led somewhere. It's unknown if this location was here before or after the coordinates were submitted, but if I had to guess, I would assume it was after. Once I had surveyed the entire area, I quickly found a portal back to spawn, also known as a lava pool. After cleansing myself in the frenzied flame, I quickly died and found myself back at the bed. Since the second and third locations were both far off in the northeast quadrant, there was no need for the bed anymore, so I destroyed it. With location number 2 being the closest, at 200,000 blocks north, I went into the nether for the next leg of the journey. My elytra was working again, but I quickly ran into chaos near nether spawn. Wither explosions were going off everywhere. In fact, I actually took a direct hit from a wither skull, and let me tell you, it's not fun. I managed to find a suitable tunnel just off the main highway that was large enough to fit a boat. As I continued north, I ended up finding something by complete accident, an entire stash of horses and donkeys. When using entity speed hacks, animals are much faster than boats on the ground, so these could greatly speed up the journey. I found a donkey with a decent amount of health and conveniently borrowed him from the stash. His speed made getting to the second location much faster than the first. I stepped through the pre-lit portal and made my way towards the coordinates. I ended up getting the adventuring time achievement on my alt by complete accident. It was bound to happen eventually. As I entered the outskirts of the location, I quickly realized that whatever used to be here was completely demolished. There was nothing left but massive craters, obsidian graffiti, and the odd structure here and there. It almost looked like Spawn with how destroyed it was. So overall, the second location was a dud. If you traveled out here, you would definitely feel trolled. So then, it was time to head to the third and final set of coordinates. Being located almost 800,000 blocks away from spawn, this location was the farthest and hardest to get to. Even using the nether, I would still have to travel over 100,000 blocks. You think it wouldn't be so bad with a donkey traveling Mach 10, but there were a few problems. The side tunnel that I'd been using for the journey became too small to fit the donkey, so I was forced to get on the main axis highway headed north. Being on one of the 4 main nether highways is usually pretty dangerous, as you are likely to run into an ambush of some kind. It definitely puts you on edge when you're just waiting for a player name to pop up as you continue forward. Since I had previously destroyed my bed, a death would send me all the way back to spawn, and having to travel the exact same highway again would be a massive pain. But this time, luck was on my side. I managed to travel 100,000 blocks without being spotted. But with the good comes the bad. There were no wide tunnels that branched off the highway, so sadly, I was forced to abandon my donkey. He had been a useful steed, but now I had to continue on foot for roughly 20,000 blocks. As I walked through the straight tunnel that seemed to go on for ages, I eventually found what seemed to be a dead body. A pile of items lay at the bottom of a trap. Someone was likely AFK and walked into their doom. That's why on 2b2t, you should always carry a totem to protect yourself from random deaths like this. As I eventually got closer to the location, I noticed a freshly dug tunnel heading straight towards the coordinates. Once again, it seemed like I wasn't the only one that was curious about this place. At the end of the tunnel, as expected, there was a portal, and when I entered it, I found myself surrounded by an obsidian fortress. Much like the first location, it had taken some damage, but was still pretty intact. There was a massive obsidian tower nearby, and there was even an old-school Valkyrian eagle built inside the fortress. It turns out this location actually had a bit of backstory. Since all messages of the day were previously submitted by users, these coordinates were indeed originally meant to troll people, but a group of players actually came together to build something here. They would call it the Message of the Day Palace, so that anyone traveling all this way would have something at the end of their journey. So while all 3 sets of these coordinates may have been meant to troll people, it turns out they do lead to player-made settlements, some in better shape than others. So if you ever wondered what was at these seemingly fake coordinates, well, now you know. I hope you enjoyed our journey today. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and follow my socials. Take it easy, Fit Fam, and get exploring out there.